What about ingesting cannabis while heavily depressed? Could this lead to addiction? The science is contradictory, but I will say from personal experience, yes, absolutely. I'm Lex Pelger. I do Canna Education for CV Sciences, the makers of Plus CBD, and we value honesty in education. For starters, if you want to see the science of THC and CBD and PEA for treating depression, go to CVResearch.info, the archive for CV Sciences, where I have a lot of this data. And you'll see that especially CBD can help people, but THC can have contradictory effects. And I think it can be dose dependent, and also because everyone's endocannabinoid receptors are different and they have a different distribution of cannabinoid receptors, and just because everyone is different and we have contradictory effects, especially with this plant. But that being said, as someone who has struggled with both depression and addiction for my entire adult life, I would say that cannabis is my number one tool to use in an addictive manner to deepen my depression. It's curious that alcohol wasn't the thing I would turn to. It wouldn't have that much effect either direction. It wasn't what I was going for. But I distinctly remember being in New York, very isolated, and using cannabis every night after I got home from work, and sitting on the same steps and just doing as much of it as I could and using it to ruminate on how terrible the world was, how terrible I am, and feeding into the seduction of what depression can feel like. And so it was absolutely cannabis that I was using to deepen my depression. Now, could I have used it in a more happy manner, like combining it with exercise and going to see friends? Sure. And that's what some people do. It's probably part of the tools for helping you to lift yourself out of that. But that was absolutely not what I was doing. I was absolutely using it to be more alone and to be more depressed, to the point that, I would, as soon as I could get away to go do that and to get to my solo depressed state, that's what I would do. And so it was a very addictive, depressed pattern using cannabis to achieve it. If anyone else has anecdotes or advice for people thinking about these topics, I would love to hear them. Perhaps the last thing I would end on is that I don't think that your response has to be taking a break from cannabis. That's probably a really good option if you find that you think it's worsening your depression. But also there's ways to come at it from a new way, and perhaps you set guidelines for yourself about when and how you use it to ensure that it's going to be guiding you more in the upward direction than the downward. It's complicated, tricky stuff, but I think this absolutely does happen, and that we do need to be honest and to talk about it.